Hi, spiritual warriors. This is V. My name is actually Cass V, but most people just call me V, my middle initial. There's something that has been on my heart, which is developing magnetism, not just the magnetism to attract really good things into your reality, but this magnetism to pull off the dross, the crud, off of the face of your own divine nature. People talk about looking in the mirror, that the whole world is a mirror reflecting back to you what you need to see. You've probably heard this through some channel somewhere, and for me, I've been working with this kind of like a meditation, like if everyone and everything in the world is a mirror for myself, that mirror, if I can't see myself in that mirror clearly, my true divine nature reflecting back to me, I want to clean the mirror. And when we first start to wake up to like, okay, there's this, for example, very common example, there's this person in my life, they annoy me, they anger me, they irritate me, I don't like them, I'm forced to be around them, right? They chafe my soul, they trigger me, they, whatever, okay? They're driving me crazy. Doesn't mean we don't have good boundaries with people that are unhealthy for us or abusive or harassing towards us. We need to. We should have good boundaries, okay? Those people don't belong in your life, but I'm talking about the little stuff, usually it's little stuff. Personality conflicts, disagreements, the people that just bother you. You might not even know why. The people who upset you. I remember hanging out in the Amachi, the Hugging Saint community for, I was around this guru that I followed, Amma the Hugging Saint, for 13 years. And, people always say, oh, wear pure white when you go to the, when you go to the programs, and when you do the sat songs, wear pure white because it's going to emanate all of the colors of the rainbow. It emanates, light. And I would always wear white, and nothing wrong with wearing white. I still like wearing white. But whenever the public programs would happen, like the Devi Babas and stuff, which is like a program where Amma, she would dress up in this beautiful Indian sari, like these like a crown and jewels, and they'd put flowers around her, and basically like dressing up and playing, like putting on the costume of the Divine Mother so that people can basically worship the Divine Mother through her, and they sing the songs and chant the chants and have like, all this ritual, basically beautiful Divine Mother ritual, and she does the hugging and stuff. And during this very public program, a ton of people would come, usually tons of people would come from all over the region, sometimes from all around the world. A lot of people would just pack into these venues, like hotels and stuff like that. She still does these once in a while. It's rare now that she does these programs, but because she's 70 now, I believe. And all kinds of different people would show up beyond just the regular devotees in the white, the followers. There would be like random people getting off work, like people that worked at the hotel would come in, just people trailing in, like, what's this? And then there would be like the gothic people, the witches, the black magicians and stuff would come in with their all black, creepy makeup, like punk rock hair, greasy, I don't know, like accessories, like like inverted pentagrams on their, messenger bag or whatever, what have you, the vest with the pins with the like 666 and all that. These people would come to see Amma, and I remember, I'd stand in a group with the other devotees, and we all kind of lean into each other when we'd see those people, and we'd be like, oh my God, why do the dark people have to come in? Why do the dark people have to come in? I hate them. They creep me out, man. God, I wish they would leave. They need to wake up. They need to wear white. They need to get it together. They need to have our love. And this was just, looking back, like hindsight's really 2020, like looking back, like I was unable to see myself in the mirror there at that time. In my younger years, I don't follow any guru anymore, and I worship no God. But this looking back, it's like, wow, like I had clear categorizations. Some people were not divine, some things and some people and situations were ungodly, and others were divine and godly, and those are the things that are the mirrors. At this point in my life, like, if there's ever anything that I can't see myself in, any mirror that I can't see myself in, I pray that hurts me. Like that, like let that disturb me, because that's not who I am. That's just not who I am anymore. At the moment that I become aware of that, and I'm constantly asking, my higher self, like, don't let those things pass by me unawares. Like, let me be aware of that. If there's anything that I can't see my divine self in, let me get into my own mind and clean off the mirror. Like a maniac just wanting a clear mirror, and you and you and you and you and you and this and that and everything. I want to see myself at all times. A lot of teachers will talk about praying for the constant vision of your Ishta Deva, your beloved deity, right? Pray for the constant vision, constant darshan, okay, the vision of your Ishtadeva, your beloved divine deity, the form of your heart's desire, the form of God in your heart's desire, whatever that may be. For some people it's God or goddess, for some people it's like the form of light, or, their guru, or whatever, Could be your higher self. Okay, that's more my path. Okay. But what this means is like how to do this. Like, how do we really do this? Is it just like we have this, like waking, internal, like a waking conscious hallucination or like vision all the time of this form of the Divine Mother or whatever the Ishta is, If that's your heart's desire, then go ahead and pray for it. But like for me, I want to look in the mirror and I want to see my divine self in everything. I want to see myself all the time. It's not about ego, because the ego just wants to be separate. The ego actually loves to have categories of like, these people and these situations are ungodly, because then it can reinforce that there are certain things that are somehow have the power to keep you apart from your own divine nature. So the ego actually hates this practice in a certain way of speaking, right? This practice of like, I maniacally clean the mirrors. I've been using the word maniacal a lot in my talks and content, and I'm like, okay, let's just go with it, right? Why not? It is the full moon after all. Tomorrow is I'll come back to that. And this practice of like I clean every mirror. If I think that this thing isn't a mirror for my divine self, I want to clean it and make it so. Because that's who I am. That's just what I do all the time. And in this practice, spiritual warrior, doing this inside yourself with like your own aspects, the parts of yourself that are like the quote unquote dark people in yourself, right? Like the quote unquote ugly aspects and parts in you. Those are your greatest gift. They're your greatest allies, they're your greatest helpers, but we have to let go. Like it costs us the belief that they're not a part of us, that they should just go away. They can't go away. In science, they even teach matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Transformation is the way. The more that we are doing this inside with our own healing journey, whether that's parts work and, working with the inner child and these different healing techniques, right? To work with our inner ecosystem, our inner family, okay? The parts of us that bear the wounds, that bear the burdens, okay? To let those burdens go, to transform, to live more fully. That practice of working with our parts, our internal aspects, our inner child, and etc., that will ultimately start to spill over the lip of the cup, so to speak. Like, that it's like, and you too, you're a part of me too. You exist external of me. We have boundaries between each other based on our relationship. I may, be deeply irritated by your presence at times, whatever, but you're a part of me too, and I'm taking you as a part of myself. There was a time when, about 2014-ish, when I was suffering greatly. And, a lot of us spiritual warriors, we've been through some stuff, okay? We've been through some pain, some real deep pain, some psychic pain, okay? And for about 3 straight years, was in a type of pain that was so heavy and profound and constant. Psychic pain, emotional pain from my trauma, my trauma wounds, that every day, all day, I would think about what it would feel like, what the relief would feel like from just not being alive anymore, wishing that there could just be a day when I just didn't wake up, because it was so painful to be alive. It hurt so bad. And I didn't understand why. There was a lot of repressed trauma burdens and wounding and stuff like that in me. And like, there was a period of these 3 years that I really didn't want to live. And I was just disassociated, and the only thing that got me through every day was literally heavily fantasizing, in like a dissociative type of fantasy about the relief of just not living anymore. And I would lay down like after work and I didn't know what else to do except just write in my journal like all these horrible thoughts and feelings that were inside. And they came out in this really like childlike voice way, like it was so intense. And what happened was there was a part of me that responded that was so it was like a helper appeared inside, and it was like this deeply Christ-like sort of energy with this pure, absolute, unconditional love and forgiveness and acceptance. And I continued this practice because I didn't really understand what I was doing. I just knew that it helped. That was like the only thing that helped at that time. And a lot of the things that came from that inner child part just like didn't make any sense. It didn't make sense why I had so much psychic pain. Remember, this was before I remembered the ritualistic abuse I survived. I didn't know. For a long time it was repressed, and I didn't know why I felt this way every day, why the only way for me to cope was to heavily dissociatively fantasize about just no longer living, just like not waking up the next morning, and what a relief that would be. Like, that was the only way I could get relief, apart from drugs and alcohol, which I did engage in as well to cope, and then I had a nervous breakdown in 2016, and that's when all the memories came through, and it was like very shocking, but such a gift to finally be able to get to the root of why I was in so much horrible, terrible pain, and then being able to basically like reparent myself on a deeper level and have parts work that was actually doing something rather than just coping, But there was a long time, oh God, I can feel the pain of this. It was a long time when like I didn't know what the root of my pain was. I didn't know. I straight up didn't know. I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm like bipolar. But I tried going to all kinds of, clinics and day programs and taking all these different pills, but nothing helped. Nothing helped. It just didn't take away the pain at all, and some people do get help from medications. And if you do, then great, good. I won't tell you don't take it, if it's helping you, great. But for me, it didn't touch it. It didn't touch it, spiritual warriors. And that's because the roots were not addressed. And to circle back, like the roots for so many people, the roots of this pain that, all the things of the world can't seem to touch, like all these like healing modalities and therapies and positive thinking and affirmations and, all these things that we try to feel better. Maybe they help for a little while, but the roots, they're not going to the roots. And the universal root is this deep fear that like we're not enough, that there's some part of us that could be separated from unconditional love, some part of us that's just not worthy of that, some feeling that like we could be separated from our true self, and this feeling of this belief that something could separate us from unconditional love somehow, some way, some force in the universe, some devil, some curse, some, whatever, some event that happened, whatever it is that you, or I'm going to say like people in general, okay? There's a lot of people out there who don't realize what their roots are, the roots of their pain, their deep pain. They don't even know that they're suffering. If you're here and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I've been suffering, like that's progress, that's forward movement. So be reassured that, at the point when we can say like, yeah, this sucks, like I don't want this affliction. At that point, like we are actually moving forward. And my teacher says really directly, like, if you're praying, you are not stuck. If you're at the point where you're like, you're, feeling feelings or feeling the pain, and you're like waking up to the fact that you're like, oh my God, I thought I was all that. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was fine, but I was just coping with this sort of mediocre reality, this mediocre self, this mediocre like this halfway vision of God, this halfway vision of God, Divine Mother, the universe, whatever words you use, okay, higher self, this halfway version of like, I see God, I see the Divine Mother, I see the universe, I see my higher self in some things and some people, and in other things I don't. Like for me, that's an affliction. That's a mistake for me in perception. And it's not just a mistake in perception. It's painful. It's excruciating. It's excruciating. And I'll tell you right now, deep breath of that. I'll tell you right now that like the reason why a lot of the most commonly followed like 101 spiritual paths and spiritual teachings and spiritual teachers, the reason why they're constantly preaching compassion, very basic, this is like baby steps stuff, having compassion for other people, having compassion for people who are suffering, for animals, things, that we see the suffering, we have compassion. The reason why this is often the first step in a spiritual practice is because it's easier to have compassion for someone else or something else than it is to have compassion on ourselves. And there's a lot of people, you probably know a lot of people like this, even if they don't talk about it with you. They're around you, I'm sure of it, that their heart melts when they see, a dog or a cat in the shelter. Their heart melts when they see a homeless person on the street begging. Their heart melts when they see those ads on TV of like the starving children, in other countries, in developing countries. But as much as they want to help other people, through their work, volunteering, giving money, giving whatever they may be able to, they can't sit with themselves and just listen to their inner child pour out like a stream of consciousness of like, I feel sad, I feel scared, I feel in pain, I don't know why, something's wrong with me, I feel like something's bad about me, this sort of just not logical stream of like outpouring of pain, and being able to just hold space for that. They can't even hold space for that in themselves. In fact, they criticize that inner child and they just judge and tell it like to get over it, and tell it like that it's, needs to just stop and just shut up. And this kind of like inner critic, inner judge voice comes out. And if you've had this, or if you know someone who's had this, let me put you on to a reason why this is. And you probably already know this. You might already know this, but for those of you who are like, yeah, I have this, and I don't know why I do this to myself, and I don't seem to be able to get past this. That voice developed because when you were young, it helped you to get through something that you had to survive. And the first step, which is like what I had to hold space for, in myself, was just whatever came up, just being like, that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel that way. Every part of you is perfect. Every thought that you have, every emotion that you have, and every desire that you have is perfection. To the judgmental part of you, thank you for helping me to survive what I had to survive. Compassion creates a doorway to this type of practice. It creates a doorway to oneness consciousness. People talk a lot about the concept of like, we're all one, everything's one, we're all love. And it sounds really nice to hear that, but like, what does that even mean to feel that in your bones, to know that through your practice, to feel it in your body, to feel it in your perception every day? Where like everybody you meet, you're just like, oh, I understand why he acts that way, because, you know, I know enough to know about him that he probably survived something horrible and he can't even be around people without snapping at them. Doesn't mean you don't have a boundary with somebody like that, but you understand. You understand. We live on a planet that, in a lot of ways, it's very hellish to live a human lifetime on this planet right now. We live in a Kali Yuga. We're living in a dark time. There's a lot of materialism, and it's only going to increase. And in human design, if you're following some of the human design stuff, some of you are in human design that follow me, like this transition, this 2027 shift into the cross of the sleeping phoenix is what it's called. Really, it's a shift into more inward. It's going to bring more inward focus. We're going to be less and less externally focused. There's going to be less and less like external people to look up to, external role models. And we're going to have to be our own inner role models, you know, our own inner guides, and go within to really trust ourselves more and more. When I speak to you like this, you know, I imagine myself laying down on the black line of magic on the Enneagram. I imagine myself laying down on this very horizontal plane, okay? This is like the foundation of the material realm, the third dimension, right? Spiritual warriors, and like this, what's called the black line of magic on the Enneagram, the bottom of the pyramid, this holding it up, this is where it's the heaviest down here, right? It's dark. This is where all the fears come up and all the insecurities and the limitations and the like, this is a slog, you know? And the analogy of this, like in this symbol of the Enneagram, is that, you know, and my teacher says this, she just said this today on the class, she's like, 0.5 of the Enneagram is known to be where you're the farthest away from God, basically. God, Divine Mother, Higher Self, the universe. This is where you're the farthest away. And this is how it feels coming to planet Earth, right? Like, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like the farthest away, the densest possible experience that you've been through? We come here to feel that far awayness from this oneness consciousness, this unity consciousness, this unconditional love, you know, this 24/7 unconditional love experience. We feel far away from that here. A lot of us feel really far away from that. Maybe we have moments, you know, and the practice can get us closer and closer. And the practice, spiritual practices actually build spiritual muscles, so to speak, for us to be able to hold that consciousness in our perception for longer and longer periods. Spiritual warrior, hear me on that. It doesn't just happen. This is why, you know, like people talk about, you know, spiritual teachers talk about practice, do the work. You know, you hear this. That's why. And when I lay down right here with you, and I put the phone like right over my heart, like right over my singularity, middle of my body, and I just imagine myself laying down on this like earth plane, you know, the darkest part of the journey of what it means to be human in this third dimensional, you know, Kali Yuga. Coming back to occult vampirism, okay, this is a term that's deeply misunderstood, and I don't even like to use it because it's so misunderstood and it's associated with corruption and child abuse. And that's so not what I'm about. F that noise, dude. If anybody knows me, you know how strongly I feel about, I am so against abuse. We don't abuse ourselves or others. So that's why I like to, I just want to use like a different word, like becoming like the mycelial network. Okay, let's use that. Becoming the vacuum cleaners, the mycelial network on this planet Earth in this timeline. Okay, that's what I want to be. The difference between someone who just kind of wants to stay in the light and love and just enjoying the sweetness, of life, of the practice, of the spiritual journey, and someone who's really here to get to work and do like really hard work to help people through some of the darkest imaginable, to help people through some of the worst pain imaginable that people go through on this planet Earth. To have that level of spiritual muscle built up, that like to being like this like force of nature, this force to be reckoned with, to develop this gravitas. Okay, this like the difference between these two camps is that when the light and love and sweetness person gets the bitter cup of poison, from the universe, the chalice of painful, poisonous, drink, they get on their knees and they pray, God, take this cup from me if it be your will. Please let this cup pass from me, The difference between that camp and the camp that's like hardcore, okay? The hardcore vacuum cleaners of this timeline, the hardcore vacuum cleaners, mycelial network, the dark workers is another way to say it. Not dark like corrupt, but dark like shadow work. Okay, we're comfortable. We know what hell is. We know what it means to suffer. And we are here intentionally sitting with our darkness to build that type of spiritual muscle so that we can be of service and be really powerfully effective for the people we're here to serve, The difference is that when we get that chalice of poison, that dark, how do I want to say, that painful, that cup of pain, that cup of just noxious drink, that we say, yes, please, give it to me. We down that sucker and we hold that cup out to the universe and we say, more. I'm thirsty. I demand a refill. And we just keep drinking our own, how do I say it? We keep drinking off our own poison, the way that we've like poisoned ourselves against our own capital S self, against our own higher nature, And we do this to melt, the crud, the gunk, the dross that covers the mirror, that covers the alchemical gold that's deep in our center, that's deep in our heart. This ability, this gold, this awakened self, this is our ability to have the constant vision of who we are, the constant experience of who we truly are. People talk about this like, another way of saying this is to have like this permanently installed software of unity consciousness. And when I lay down here and I put the phone over my heart, and I talk to you, spiritual warriors, I'm holding the golden chain. This is the chain that I use in the ritual of the golden chain. This is the chain that I use in this ritual as a symbol of my own alchemical gold and the ways that I chain myself to my own commitment, my own higher self, my own vow that I'm here to fully awaken, that my Ishtadeva, my higher self, that I'm like chaining myself to her and saying like, oh, you're not going anywhere. Oh, you're not going anywhere. You're not getting away from me. You're not getting away from me again. I'm not going to forget you again. Don't hide your face from me. I'm going to clean every mirror. I'm going to clean every mirror. And one of the biggest reasons I talk a lot about service, like through our effect on other people, we can, by extension, prove our own splendor to ourselves, our own light to our own selves. That I was able to lay down on the black line of magic, that I was able to consciously initiate the hell realms, that I was able to survive things and heal and come back from that and come full circle, to bring gifts to you, to come back from, the underworld with gifts to share, real gifts, not just nice, pretty words, not just nice things to think about, but things that actually help you. I offer the mentorship, the one-on-one mentorship program. I only work with 2 people at a time. The ritual service, I have some, I run this ritual service. It's all constructed based on the Enneagram and this profound, ancient symbol of complete transformation and enlightenment. This is the ritual service. And this is a ritual too. Me sitting here laying down and speaking to you like this, and I'm in meditation right now. I'm in prayer right now. And I'm consciously chaining myself to my own destiny right now, my own fate. I'm consciously saying, yes, I've heard the call and I will respond. It makes me think of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva, the stories about this great Bodhisattva that a lot of Westerners may not know the story of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva. It's a very Eastern, from Chinese and Japanese Buddhism is where his story comes from. He was this Bodhisattva who is said to have lived many different lifetimes. Every single lifetime, every time he reincarnates, he goes through something where he is exposed to really horrible, painful suffering of other people. And every single time he vows to his own divine nature that he will not attain Buddhahood, or AKA exit the cycle of human reincarnation until the hell realms are empty. And this is another defining factor of, those people who are like, I'm going to be the vacuum cleaner, I'm going to be the mycelial network, I'm going to be the bodybuilder of spiritual work on earth, right? The beefcake of spiritual, muscle. We hear a lot of people saying like, this is my last human life. I want this to be my last human life. I never want to come back to this planet. I never want to reincarnate here again. And they're working on that goal. They want to attain liberation, moksha, nirvana, this exiting of the wheel of samsara, okay, this exiting of this cycle of having to live on planet Earth. If this is you, good. Keep going, okay? Keep doing your work. Keep up your spiritual practices. Those of you whose hearts are breaking open with compassion, and you've had this, this empathic gift for a lot of years, and maybe it's overwhelming for you, and you've had different experiences, maybe you've had psychic experiences, you have gifts, okay, you're gifted. This might be you, where you're like, yeah, I want to help more people. I want to be able to help more and more people with some of the worst imaginable pain that you can go through on planet Earth. And I want to help the helpers. I want to equip the helpers. I want to, whatever it might be, okay, that you're called to do. And this is another defining factor of, if this is you, if this is more what's in your heart, of like, yeah, I'm willing to reincarnate. I'm willing to come back here, because if there are still beings who have a mistaken perception, who believe that they're separate from their true divine nature, then that's in effect me still believing somewhere inside myself that I'm separate from true divine nature. And I want to clean the mirror. Like, it's not about rescuing, it's not about saving, it's not about being a martyr. It's about developing that level of compassion. Think about it, like, if you're a very compassionate, heart-centered being, and when you see someone on the side of the road, with a cardboard sign, your heart just breaks, and you wish you could just give them like everything you have, but you can't do that, because you have to have something for yourself so that you can, provide for you and your family, and all you've got is like, maybe like a $5 bill in your pocket or whatever, and you just wish that you could help more people, right? Like, the power of learning the mysteries and the power of learning the occult sciences is that if you increase in your resourced capacity on the material realm, you can do more to help people. As Kshitigarbha is known to, just through his mere presence alone, or this is what they say in the Buddhist beliefs and practices that I've learned so far, okay, but they say that like even just hearing the name of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva will help relieve pain, suffering, and create wealth, material wealth, for anybody who hears the name, even if you don't understand. They say that just looking at the form of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva will help anybody who, is suffering, and giving like an offering will help people across the world, like without even you doing anything except for like chanting this name and putting a bowl of oranges in front of this like statue of the Buddha, or whatever, Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva. That like, how much more then could you achieve if you yourself go way deeper into your mystery studies, your initiations, your prayer and meditation, your work, okay, building your offering so that it's like a deeply helpful offering, whatever that is, whatever role you're in, whatever career or field you're in, that you like ask the universe, the divine mother, God, your higher self, whatever word you use, like, let me know, like, tell me what I should do, like, show me what I should do so that I can help more people on a deeper level, or help the small group of people that I'm helping now on a much deeper level, so that they can then help more people on a deeper level, or, right, like think of how much more you could attain. Tomorrow I'm performing the ritual of the golden chain for the members of the ritual service. This ritual is really deep. It weaves in a lot of occult science, but the biggest thing I want you to know about this is the feeling of it. Anybody who joins this ritual receives, you basically get linked into the energy field of my own prayer to myself, my higher self, my own intense meditation, guided meditation of doing this with my higher self. And this really strong visual symbol of the gold, the pure gold, of saying, yes, I'm here to live out this fate, that my fate as a human being in this lifetime, and just completely accept everything about myself, everything about my karma, my path, and completely surrender to my destiny and what I'm here to do in this life, and make that commitment to building myself to be able to truly fulfill that, instead of just sort of, life happening to me, life happening for me. Anybody who joins this ritual, which is available for members, temple members at the mid-tier, level ecstasy is what I've got it labeled, and above, you join this in, and you basically join this energy field of this really strong gold, Kashidi Garba, like surrender to the gold in you, refine the gold in you type of energy field, deep in the heart, deep in the center of one's being. One of the biggest advantages to joining this ritual as a temple member is that it allows me to create like this link between you and me, where I can this fire, this spiritual fire that's generated in the ritual, burns out all the cruft and the crud out of your open centers and channels in your human design. All that conditioning, all the stuff that we get told as kids of like, this is how you should be, and this is how you should believe, and this is how you should act, and no, this is wrong, and this is right, not this conditioning from our family, our society, our culture, whatever, that basically it can clog us up in a way. It can clog us up from just being really authentically who we are in our design, and you're struggling with this like not self is what we call it in human design, of like, gosh, I tried emulating this person, but like it just doesn't work for me. Like doing things like them doesn't work for me, and I can't figure this out, and I feel stuck. And if this is you, and I've been this person too, I've been this person, I'm all the time, I'm constantly cycling through this, because I'm building a business. I can't emulate other people. I have to be myself with you. I have to be 100% myself with you, spiritual warrior, in all my like farts and warts and all, right? Like, I've got my sleeves rolled up with you here. Like I'm in this slog with you. This sort of this link, this energetic link of me speaking your name during the ritual, very intimately. In this room where I perform this ritual right here on this floor right here, where I set it up every month, every several weeks during the full moon. I have had people participate in this ritual who did come over and sit in these seats while I performed the ritual laid out, on the floor here, and they had the same effects as somebody who was like 500 miles away, next day, after the ritual, they're texting me, I just got the check in the mail that I've been waiting for. I just got that money I've been waiting for. I just got that raise, same effect, it doesn't matter the distance. The benefit of this is that it can help speed up the benefit of this is it can help speed up this work that you're doing to clear out the conditioning in your personal, unique design, so that you can more fully live your authenticity. And this is really valuable for anybody who is really trying to move up in the world, whether that you're trying to get that promotion or, change your career, and you're interviewing a lot. Dude, I've been through this because I've changed my career, in 2022, and it was a hell of a lot of work. Building a business is a lot harder though than learning to code and becoming a software engineer. You're building a business, you're whatever it is, right? You're dating, you're actively looking to create like a loving partnership, especially a spiritual partnership, a power couple. You need to be completely yourself and really grounded and rooted in who you are. And I don't care how much openness you have, living your design is perfect. You're perfect. Your design is perfect. Closing, I'll just say, whether you're here as someone who's like, yeah, I don't care about like having powers or occultism. I don't care about left-hand path or Lucifer or anything like that. I just want to feel better. I just want to walk my talk and be in the light of my divine nature and be experiencing that oneness, that unity consciousness. Or whether you're like me and you're like, yeah, I'm like, I've walked every flavor of spiritual path. I'm really intense. Like, I'll come back to earth. Give me another cup. I demand a refill, in this kind of maniacal intensity that I tend to have. Okay, like I'll have a lot of fire in my soul. Spiritual warriors, you might too. You might too. But like, it doesn't matter. Whatever camp you're on, you're in the right place. I talk to people on the light and love flavored path. I talk to people on some of the darkest, creepiest, like most demonic flavored paths. I talk to people on all in between, all around, left, right, and center. I work with all types of folks. So you're in the right place. And if you're interested, if you have burning questions that you're not comfortable putting in the comments here on the video, definitely like the video and follow, to stay in touch with me, to continue to get this content prioritized in your notifications. But if you have a question that you're not comfortable asking on the public comments, you can email me, or you can text my business phone. You can also send a message through the website. And 100% join the mailing list, because I only do the Ask Me Anything. For y'all who have burning questions, you've got to get on the mailing list, dude. Like, I only answer the deeper questions, like off of the public channels, giving information that I wouldn't give, that I don't give here, okay, that I don't give publicly. I go way deeper, especially the sciences, okay, the spiritual sciences. And the things that are really, a lot of people don't they get misunderstood, okay? I answer those to an extent on the live Ask Me Anythings, to an extent, okay? I don't go as deep as I do on the membership for people who are in the paid membership. And that's because those are the people who are, doing the work, and you're investing, and you're probably moving to some pretty more advanced levels. You're advancing. You're here to do some serious work, even if it's for just a small group of people, right? Maybe you're that therapist who talks to people about horrible things, you're a trauma therapist or whatever. Maybe you're, a teacher. You're working with kids in the school system. Maybe you're whatever it might be, okay? Maybe you work in corporate. Maybe you're a small business owner. You're coaching coaches. There's all types of people that I've talked to. I've talked to stay-at-home moms, whatever. Domestic engineers is what I call them. Okay, anyway, I digress. But so definitely get on the mailing list, send me your questions, and I will see you later. Peace.